In order to have the cleanest possible cuts with the least amount of dross on the backside of your material, having proper travel speed and proper amperage are two critical components. What do I mean by proper travel speed? Travel speed is the speed in which you move the torch across the material while you're cutting. Amperage is the amount of power that the machine is using to cut. So for thinner material, you're going to want to drop your amperage way down. For thicker material, you're going to want to kick it up. Now, there is some debate on where to put your amperage when you're cutting in general. I like to cut and use my machine at the lowest possible amperage setting to cut and pierce the material. I find that gets me cleaner cuts, because if you've got too much power going through your machine, you've got a lot of molten metal going out, and you're gonna have a lot of dross on the back side. So play around with your machine and figure out what amperage is best for the material that you're cutting on. I recommend grabbing a piece of scrap of the same thickness of material and giving it a go. If it's under, like, say 16 gauge, then start your machine down in the 20 amps and see what happens. You're most likely going to have to go up to between 25 and 30, but if your particular machine will cut 16 gauge material at 20 amps, give it a go. Don't be afraid to play around with your machine settings and figure out what works best. Different people having different travel speeds, they're going to need different amperage. So for example, if you move faster, your travel speed is faster, you can probably crank your machine up a little bit. If you're a slower cutter or you're working on some really fine detail, you're going to want to drop that amperage down to as low as you possibly can to still pierce and cut the material, because you're going to be moving slower around that detail. So you can see on the first cut, I went a little bit slower with my torch, and I had the amperage on the machine set a lot lower. So you can see the amount of dross that I had on the backside. On this one, I am a much faster pusher than a puller. So you can see when I cranked my machine up to 30 amps and I was pushing, I was moving a lot faster. I had almost no dross. But on this one here, as a puller, I'm a slower cutter, and so I had a little bit more dross here. Same amperage, different travel speed. So now you can see the difference. So I hope that you find that helpful. Happy cutting, guys.